If you own a home in St. Charles County, Missouri, and you're 62 or older, I need you to stop whatever you're doing right now and pay attention to one date, June 30th. That is the hard cutoff for 2026 to apply for or renew the St. Charles County Senior Real Estate Property Tax Relief Program. If you miss it, there is no extension, no grace period, and no way to go back and apply retroactively. You are out of the program for this year, and potentially for next year too, because you have to start the whole process over again from the beginning. This isn't a soft deadline. It's a hard close, set by county ordinance, and it means exactly what it says. Now, depending on where you are in this process, this video is going to mean very different things to you. Some of you are current participants who enrolled last year and haven't renewed yet. Some of you are brand new to this and you've been hearing about the program but haven't gotten around to applying. And some of you are watching this because you have a parent, a neighbor, or someone from church who fits that profile, and you want to make sure they don't miss out. I'm going to cover all three of those situations step by step because the process is slightly different depending on which one applies. Let me start with the basics though, because I want to make sure everyone watching understands what this program actually does and what it doesn't do before we talk about how to get into it. The St. Charles County Senior Real Estate Property Tax Relief Program does something specific, and it's worth understanding precisely because a lot of people have a slightly wrong picture of it in their heads. It does not eliminate your property taxes. It does not freeze your property taxes at a fixed dollar amount forever. What it does is slow down the growth of your tax bill over time. Specifically, it protects you from paying higher taxes as your home's assessed value goes up. Here's what that means in practice. When you enroll in the program, the tax bill you pay that year becomes your base year, your personal reference point. In every year after that, even if your home's market value increases, and even if the county's tax rate adjusts, your tax bill is capped so that it cannot rise above that base year amount due to increases in your home's value. The program essentially freezes the impact of future property value appreciation on your tax bill. That's genuinely valuable for a senior on a fixed income living in a county where home values have been rising consistently. If your home goes from being assessed at $280,000 to $350,000 over a few years, without this program, your property tax bill goes up proportionally. With the program, you're protected from that increase. But, and this is important, the program does not protect you from every possible increase in your tax bill. The relief applies only to the county's portion of property taxes. It does not cover the state government's portion of your taxes, and it does not cover voter-approved bond issues. Those can still increase your bill even if you're enrolled. So if you see your tax bill go up slightly while you're in the program, it's not necessarily an error. It may be one of those portions the program doesn't cover. One more detail worth understanding clearly before we get to the application. If you are enrolling for the first time in 2026, you should not expect a reduction on your November 2026 tax bill. That's not how the program works. The year you first enroll becomes your base year, the starting line. The protection from increases kicks in the year after that. So enrolling this year is still absolutely worth doing because it sets your base now, which means every future year is protected. But if you're hoping to see your tax bill drop this November because you applied this spring, that won't happen. And I want to make sure that's clear up front so there's no disappointment. Here's some context that I think puts the real stakes of this deadline into perspective. As of May 2026, more than 26,000 St. Charles County seniors were enrolled in the program. In 2025 alone, those participants collectively saved more than $5 million on their property tax bills. That works out to roughly $192 per person on average. Real money for someone living on Social Security and a fixed income. This year, more than 21,000 of those existing participants had already submitted their renewals as of May. That means the majority of enrolled seniors are actively keeping their spot. But it also means there are thousands who haven't renewed yet, and the window is closing. On top of that, more than 1,500 brand new participants had applied for the program for the first time in 2026, a sign that word is still spreading and people are still discovering this program exists. Which means there are very likely people in your neighborhood, your family, your church, who qualify but haven't applied yet simply because they didn't know about it or kept putting it off. June 30th is the day that runs out. Let's go through the eligibility requirements carefully because there are a few specifics that catch people off guard. You must be at least 62 years old as of January 1st, 2026, Not 62 by the time you apply, not 62 sometime this year, 62 as of January 1st. If you turned 62 during 2025, meaning your birthday was any time in 2025, you meet this requirement for the 2026 application period. The home you're applying for must be your primary residence as of January 1st, 2026. Vacation homes, rental properties, and second homes don't qualify. Only the home you actually live in as your main residence. The home must be titled to you personally or to your trust. This is a detail that trips people up. If your home is held in a living trust, which is common for estate planning purposes, you can still qualify, but the application process is slightly different, and you'll need to bring additional documentation. Same situation if the property is held in an LLC. I'll talk about the in-person assistance options in a moment, because the county specifically calls out these situations as ones where you should come in rather than just filing online. You must be the person who is liable for paying property taxes on the home, either by paying directly or through an escrow account like a mortgage escrow. If someone else pays the taxes on the property on your behalf and you are not the liable party, you would not qualify. Those are the eligibility criteria. Pretty straightforward for most people. If you're 62 or older, the home is in your name, you live in it, and you pay the taxes on it, you very likely qualify. If you participated in the program in 2025, you don't have to go through the full application process again. You should have received an expedited renewal form with your 2025 tax bill. It's a single-page form that requires a notarized signature confirming you still live at the same property and haven't changed how it's titled. That's it. You sign it, you get it notarized, you submit it. If you need notary service and don't want to pay for it separately, the county offers free notary service for senior tax relief renewal forms at its service centers from March 1st through June 30th. If you haven't taken advantage of that yet, you have until the end of the month. A free notary is not a small thing. Notary fees add up, and for a lot of seniors on fixed incomes, having to track one down and pay for it is the exact kind of friction that causes delays that turn into missed deadlines. Don't let that be the reason you miss this. New applicants have 3 ways to submit: online, by mail, or in person. All 3 are valid, but the window for all of them closes June 30th. For the online application, go directly to the St. Charles County Collector of Revenue website. The address is sccmo.org. You can search St. Charles County Senior Tax Relief and it will come right up. You'll need to submit documentation with your application that proves your identity and age. A valid Missouri driver's license or state-issued ID is the preferred form of documentation. Your name on the ID needs to match the name on the property title exactly. If you'd rather do it by mail, request an application form by calling the collector's office at 636-9497-470. They will send it to you and you mail it back with your documentation before June 30th. If you prefer to do it in person, or if your home is held in a trust or an LLC, in which case in person is strongly recommended, service centers are available at 2 locations. Mondays and Fridays, the service center is at the St. Charles County Administration Building at 201 North 2nd Street in St. Charles. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, it's at the St. Charles County Election Authority at 397 Turner Boulevard in St. Peters. Hours at both locations are 8:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon. If your home is in a trust or LLC, the county specifically asks you to make an appointment before coming in, rather than just walking up. Appointments can be made online through the county's scheduling system. This isn't bureaucratic gatekeeping. It's because the documentation requirements for trust and LLC situations are more involved, and having an appointment ensures there's someone available who can actually help you work through those specifics. There's one additional piece of context that's relevant if you're trying to understand the full picture of this program. The original state law that enabled St. Charles County and other Missouri counties to offer senior property tax relief, passed by the Missouri legislature as Senate Bill 3, is currently facing a court challenge. The lawsuit, pending in Cole County, challenges whether the law is constitutional under Missouri's Constitution, specifically because the relief doesn't apply uniformly across all counties. I want to be direct about what this means and what it doesn't mean for you right now. The program is currently in effect. It is currently accepting applications and renewals. A court challenge pending doesn't suspend the program or prevent you from applying. but it does mean there is some legal uncertainty about the program's long-term future at the state level, and that's something to be aware of. Whether the challenge succeeds and what it would mean for participants if it did isn't something anyone can fully predict right now. What is certain is that the program exists today, the deadline is June 30th, and applying is free. Whatever happens legally down the road, enrolling now protects your position while the program is in effect. Here is what you need to do, depending on where you stand. If you were enrolled in 2025 and haven't renewed, find your renewal form, sign it, get it notarized, use the free notary at the service center if you haven't already, and submit it before June 30th. You have about 11 days. If you've never been in the program and you're 62 or older and you own your home in St. Charles County, go to sccmo.org right now or call 636-949-7470 and start the application. If you're unsure whether you qualify, call first and ask. The staff there will tell you in 2 minutes whether you meet the criteria. And if you know someone, a parent, a sibling, a neighbor, who is 62 or older, owns their home in St. Charles County, and probably doesn't know this deadline is days away, call them today. Not later this week, today. Because a phone call that takes 3 minutes could save them real money on their property taxes for years to come, and the window is about to close. The phone number is 636-949-7470. The website is sccmo.org. The deadline is June 30th.